The DOJ drops the hammer on the city of LA and its sanctuary policies while ramping up criminal illegal arrests.
The violent criminals in our country are the priority now.
I'm Georgia Howe with Daily Wire Executive Editor John Bickley. It's Tuesday, July 1st, and this is Morning Wire.
Trump continues his assault on Jerome Powell and Harvard, targeting both the Fed chairman and the Ivy League institution.
If you break federal law, you should not be receiving federal tax dollars.
And Democrats try to slow Trump's budget bill as the clock ticks down on the self-imposed July 4th deadline.
Thanks for waking up with Morning Wire. Stay tuned. We have the news you need to know.
Life doesn't happen bi-weekly, so why should payday? The money you earn can be in your hands today with Earnin. Earnin is an app that provides early access to your earned wages, allowing you to withdraw up to $150 per day with a max of $750 between paydays. After downloading the app and verifying your paycheck, you can access your earnings as you work and choose to leave an optional tip. Imagine a night out with friends a mere 2 days before payday. If you're a little short, Earnin's got you. Download Earnin today, spelled EARNIN, in the Google Play or Apple App Store. When you download the Earnin app, type in Morning Wire under podcast where you sign up. It'll really help the show. That's Morning Wire under podcast. Earnin is a financial technology company, not a bank. Cash outs are based on your available earnings. Standard cash outs take 1 to 2 business days with no mandatory fees. Option to expedite your transfer for a fee. Tips are voluntary and do not affect the service. See cash out user agreements for details. Service not available in all states.
The Trump administration has sued Los Angeles over its sanctuary city status while taking other steps to further tackle immigration.
Here to discuss is Daily Wire reporter Amanda Prestigiacomo. So, Amanda, lots going on the immigration front, but let's start with this lawsuit against Los Angeles. What's the administration saying?
Yeah, so the Justice Department filed this lawsuit yesterday, and it says that LA is violating the Constitution when it enforces this so-called sanctuary city status. The DOJ argues that LA is discriminating against the federal government, specifically by treating immigration officers differently than other law enforcement officials. The suit says LA's sanctuary policies are invalid and therefore they should be blocked from being enforced. And to remind listeners, with this sanctuary status, local law enforcement in LA won't cooperate with the feds on immigration, and the city prohibits the use of its resources for federal immigration enforcement. Attorney General Pam Bondi released a statement on this lawsuit, and she blamed these sanctuary policies for these recent anti-ICE riots. She said these policies were the, quote, driving cause of the violence, chaos, and attacks on law enforcement that Americans recently witnessed in Los Angeles. She added that jurisdictions like LA that flout federal law by prioritizing illegal aliens over American citizens are undermining law enforcement at every level. Bondi said that all ends under President Trump. The DOJ has also targeted other sanctuary city policies, including in New York and New Jersey.
Now, aside from targeting sanctuary policies, where do things stand with the general deportation agenda?
Yeah, we're continuing to see an increase in worksite raids. Dozens of these have been carried out across the nation in states like California, Florida, Texas, Pennsylvania, and many others. It appears that illegals with and without criminal backgrounds, aside from entering the U.S. illegally, have been picked up in those raids. There's also 59,000 immigrant detainees in custody. Officials say that's the highest in U.S. history. These facilities are reportedly well over capacity right now. Here's Border Czar Tom Homan discussing this issue and really pushing for Trump's big, beautiful bill so immigration has more funds.
What the hell's the matter with everybody up in Congress? People are dying every day. ICE is arresting 3 times as many criminals that the Biden administration did. We're taking public safety threats and national security threats off the street every single day. But we got over 600,000 illegal aliens with criminal histories walking the streets of this country. We got less than 5,000 deportation officers. This should be a no-brainer. The more resources we get, if we get this bill passed, we got more agents on the road. We buy more beds, we get more transportation flights. More agents mean more bad guys arrested, taken off the streets of this country every single day.
Daily immigration arrests have also skyrocketed. In June, ICE has averaged around 1,200 daily arrests, with some days surpassing 2,000. That's nearly double the daily average under Trump's first 100 days. So really picking up steam there, but the goal is actually 3,000 per day. So we're going to continue to see how that progresses. Additionally, as reported by the Daily Wire, Customs and Border Protection raided a Los Angeles residence that it says was being used to harbor Iranian illegal aliens with ties to terrorists. On Friday, 2 unidentified individuals were arrested. That followed a previous raid at the same house, and that one resulted in the arrest of 7 Iranian nationals, some of whom are on the FBI terror watch list and associated with an Iranian human smuggling network.
Right. Now, there was also recent action from DHS Secretary Kristi Noem affecting Haitians specifically. Tell us about that.
Yeah, Noem will end temporary protected status known as TPS for up to 500,000 Haitians on September 2nd. DHS said in a press release that this decision restores integrity in our immigration system and ensures that temporary protected status is actually temporary. The spokesperson added that the environmental situation in Haiti has improved enough that it's safe for Haitian citizens to return home.
Wow. So Noem not messing around. Amanda, thanks for reporting.
You're welcome.
This episode is brought to you by Pockethose, the world's #1 expandable hose. If you've ever struggled with traditional garden hoses that constantly kink and crease right at the spigot connection, you'll appreciate the innovative design of the Pockethose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot. This clever swivel mechanism rotates a full 360 degrees, ensuring uninterrupted water flow and giving you complete freedom to move around your entire property without fighting against stubborn hose tangles. Whether you're watering flower beds on one side of your house or reaching planters around the back, the smooth pivot action makes watering effortless and enjoyable. When your gardening tasks are complete, this remarkable hose offers yet another surprise. It automatically shrinks back down to a compact, pocket-sized coil that's incredibly easy to handle and store away neatly. The brand new Pockethose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot is a total game changer for you and your yard. For a limited time, our listeners can get a free Pocket Pivot and their 10-pattern sprayer with the purchase of any size Copperhead hose. Just text MORNINGWIRE to 64,000. Again, that's MORNINGWIRE to 64,000 for your 2 free gifts with purchase. MORNINGWIRE to 64,000. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details.
A busy day in the nation's capital Monday as the White House continued to push its economic agenda, while also battling the nation's most prominent university over anti-Semitism.
Here with the report from D.C. is Daily Wire White House correspondent Mary Margaret Olahan. Hey, Mary Margaret. So Jerome Powell and Harvard both came under fire from the president yesterday. Let's start with Powell, the Fed chair. What's the latest there?
Good morning, guys. Yes, so Caroline Leavitt yesterday opened the briefing by telling us about a letter that President Trump sent to Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. That letter was pretty scathing, and it included a handwritten note from the president in which Trump urges Powell to lower the interest rates by, quote, a lot. Here's what she had to share.
Jerome, you are as usual too late. You have cost the USA a fortune and continue to do so. You should lower the rate by a lot. Hundreds of billions of dollars are being lost, and there is no inflation.
Another huge news item. The Trump administration informed Harvard yesterday that it found the university in, quote, violent violation of Title VI of the Civil Rights Act, which prohibits discrimination on the basis of race, color, and national origin through its treatment of Jewish and Israeli students. If Harvard fails to take action on these things and to immediately institute adequate changes, the university could lose all its federal funding. Here's what she had to say on that.
The majority of Jewish students reportedly experienced negative bias or discrimination on their campus, while a quarter of Jewish students at Harvard felt physically unsafe. Jewish and Israeli students were assaulted and spit on. They hid their kippahs for fear of being harassed and concealed their Jewish identity from classmates for fear of ostracization. These are all facts that Harvard cannot dispute, and that's why the administration has found them in violation of Title VI and has threatened to withhold their federal funding.
I was also able to ask Caroline about another newsy item that's raising some eyebrows around here, a new app called ICE Block, through which people are able to tell where ICE agents are. And given that there's been a lot of violence directed at ICE agents around the country and that locals in California are doxing the locations of these agents, we thought this was pretty interesting to ask about.
I just watched a CNN segment on a new app called ICE Block, and it kind of appeared to be promoting this app where you can tell people where ICE agents are. Given the recent rise...
An app that tells people where ICE agents are?
Yes. And given the rise, I believe 500% increase in assaults on ICE agents, I wanted to see if you could comment on that and why CNN would be promoting such an app.
Well, it's a very good question. I'll have to go back and watch the clip myself, but surely it sounds like this would be an incitement of further violence against our ICE officers. As you know, as you stated, there's been a 500% increase in violence against ICE agents, law enforcement officers across the country who are just simply trying to do their jobs and remove public safety threats from our communities.
Caroline also shared that the president is today headed to Alligator Alcatraz, a new prison for illegal aliens in Florida that's sure to be causing some controversy. She described this prison in dramatic detail. Here's what she had to say.
There is only one road leading in, and the only way out is a one-way flight. It is isolated and surrounded by dangerous wildlife and unforgiving terrain. The facility will have up to 5,000 beds to house, process, and deport criminal illegal aliens. This is an efficient and low-cost way to help carry out the largest mass deportation campaign in American history.
A notable trip there for sure. And as usual, a jam-packed day from the White House. Mary Margaret, thanks so much for reporting.
Thanks for having me.
Democrats pulled out all the stops yesterday to thwart Trump's sweeping legislative agenda, which has slowly pushed its way through Congress despite some Republicans joining the opposition.
Daily Wire senior editor Cabot Phillips has the latest. So, Cabot, you've been following this for a few weeks now, and we just had a series of votes on this. Where do things stand in the process now?
Yeah, a long process indeed for President Trump to get his long-wished-for big, beautiful bill. The Senate yesterday held a so-called vote-a-rama that lasted all day, well into the evening, with Democrats forcing votes on amendments to the bill as a way of stalling, but also forcing Republicans to go on the record regarding topics like Medicaid funding and tax cuts for the wealthy, two issues they believe Republicans are out of touch on. But ultimately, they cannot stall forever. At the time of this recording, the debate is still going on. A vote still has not been held, but Republican leaders say once the Democrats run out of stall tactics, a vote will be held, and they're confident it'll pass. Now, look, a few months ago, the idea of this thing getting through Congress seemed a bit unlikely, especially given Republicans' slim majority in both chambers and all of the competing interests within the party. Typically, in situations like this, the president will push for their agenda to be broken up into smaller pieces and then voted on piecemeal. But Trump was adamant from the start that everything had to be included in one bill, and it looks like he's now going to get his wish. After leaving the Senate, the bill will head to the House for a likely vote on Wednesday, and then Trump, true to form, is expected to sign this bill into law on July 4th, just hours before the fireworks start going off.
Now, all along, though, there has been significant opposition even from Republicans.
Yeah, you're right. From the start, President Trump made clear that he expected Republicans to get in line with his agenda, which he says reflects the will of the voters who put him there in the first place. And he went hard after Republican defectors, especially North Carolina Senator Thom Tillis, who voted against the bill and slammed President Trump from the Senate floor.
What do I tell 663,000 people in 2 years or 3 years? When President Trump breaks his promise by pushing them off of Medicaid because the funding's not there anymore, guys, Republicans are about to make a mistake on health care and betraying a promise.
As you can imagine, that opposition drew swift condemnation from President Trump, who accused him of grandstanding, quote, in order to get publicity. Trump went on to say that he would be meeting with potential candidates to launch a primary challenge against Tillis in the 26 midterms, but ultimately that will not be necessary. That's because the three-term senator announced Sunday he would not be seeking re-election, apparently reading the writing on the wall. And it's worth noting the White House disputes Tillis's claim that Medicaid funding will be cut under this bill.
This bill strengthens Medicaid. It will protect those benefits that hardworking Americans need, and that's why the president wants this bill to pass. The senator was wrong.
So while President Trump seemingly has won the battle in Congress, or at least will very shortly, he'll now have to win the messaging battle to win over voters on his signature legislation. The reality is, polling says this big, beautiful bill is not all that popular with Americans right now. Pew has it with a net favorable rating of -20. Fox has it at -21 and Quinnipiac -26. So they've got some work to do on that front. For their part, the White House says they're confident that once it goes into effect and folks see the extra money coming into their paycheck every month, they'll change their tune quickly.
Now, pivoting here, the other big news coming out of Washington over the past few days was regarding the trade deal with Canada. What's going on there?
Yeah, President Trump is having a good week. Another win here, this one on trade. On Friday, amid ongoing trade negotiations between the U.S. and Canada, the Canadians came out and announced a new digital tax that would cost American tech companies billions of dollars. President Trump was furious and responded by terminating those ongoing trade talks, vowing to, quote, let Canada know the tariff that they will be paying to do business with the U.S. within the next week. Now, initially, the Canadians doubled down, vowing new tariffs on U.S. steel imports, but within 24 hours, they retreated, saying they would instead rescind that digital sales tax and resume negotiations on a broader trade deal. That news once again sent markets soaring, with the S&P 500 and NASDAQ each hitting new record highs.
Well, a big week for President Trump. Cabot, thanks for reporting.
Absolutely.
Thanks for waking up with us. And if you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. We'll be back this evening with more news you need to know.